Welcome back to A Touch of Blue Studio, where you're invited to join me today with Drawing with Grandma. We are going to do some unique studies, and we'll come back to animals very soon, but I'm going to do a study of some pears in watercolor. And I want us to start with sketching the shapes. And so I am going to draw very lightly, and I have two pears here. One is on its side, and and you can see the arrows are showing where the light is coming from. And so as I prepare this little still life of two pears, I'm shaping them first and getting the stems placed and getting them lightly sketched, and also sketching the shadow shapes and the folds of the cloth that they're sitting on. So the light is coming from the left side. So I wanted to begin by shading in to create the form. So I'm using some strong shades of value and getting some tone, and there's a little shadow there, and then there's a light area. So on the right side of the pears, there's going to be more tone and shadow to show that less light is reaching that side of the pear. So often you will put in a light area to reveal the light source. Now I'm laying in the cast shadow on the cloth, and that's going to be darker near where the light is hitting less. And now we are going to develop the drawing a little bit stronger with some finished lines, some even darker value, shaping the stems, creating form shadow, which is shadow that's on the object itself, and cast shadow, which is shadow that are on the surface that the object's sitting on. So we're going to get this shaped up and create the illusion that the light is coming from the left side. Now I thought it would be a little interesting for us to add some color to these pears. So I'm setting up my watercolors, and if you want to practice this as well, then get your sketch done of these pears, and then you can follow along with the color strategy. So the first thing is to do a wash of yellow. These are green pears, and so for the underwash, we want a nice soft layer of lemon yellow in watercolor, but you want to leave some little highlights where the light is going to be hitting the strongest. Then you'll go in with little touches of green, and while it's wet, the yellow will mix with the green and create a soft yellow-green. And then you can deepen the green and yellows where you feel that the colors need to be more saturated. I'm even taking in a little bit of orange just to warm up the surface of the pears, and looking at the unique color quality of the pears I'm studying. The fun thing about watercolor is that it's transparent, so whatever color you have underneath, the next layer will reveal it. And so you want to think about the foundational color coming through and being revealed underneath. So the yellow is strong because even if you lay brown and green on top, it's going to shine through. Now I'm going to go with deeper colors, a darker green with a little bit of black in it. And in order to darken the green, you can add a little black, or you can add the complementary color, a little bit of red into it, and that will deepen it. So I'm using both, a little bit of red and a little bit of black. Occasionally with a cloth, you want to pick up areas that have too much water. You'll want to make sure those little spots of white are left clean to reveal the lightest tones. Now I'm taking a small brush to kind of define the shadowed areas and the stems. It's got a little bit of brown and a touch of black in there to deepen the darkest areas and to give it some volume and form. And to define it from the edge of the other pear, and to create a variety of colors. Watercolor has a very dramatic effect when the colors bleed together, and it can just be very beautiful. And I'm going to warm up the surface by putting a little bit of reddish brown into the greens and to give it variety. Pears, actually, you might think they're just green, but they have a lot of brown tones, dark green, light green. They have little spots on them, and beautiful yellow, rich yellow colors. So I'm just going to play with the color a little bit and pick it up if I want to with my paper towel. I'm going to work on the cast shadows now. I'm going to have the surface of this cloth be a blue and kind of a gray blue, and the cast shadow will be a darker version of whatever color the surface is. And in this case, the cast shadow will go off to the right, and then I will wash the rest of the cloth with kind of this gray blue. And then I will take in a little bit darker value into the cast shadows again, just to emphasize them and to make sure I don't miss those detailed areas that add interest and the help to give the illusion of a three-dimensional object. So right under this first pear on the right, that shadow needs to be really strong. And then right under that one on the left needs a little bit more highlight. So here's the finished study, and I hope you'll give it a try. This study is going to be just really fun. Start by making 3 odd shapes like this on a piece of paper, a watercolor paper if you have it. And we're going to create the illusion of water drops sitting on a table. So we are looking at the water drops from a bird's eye view, which means we're looking down on it. And the first thing I'm going to do is to darken the color of the water with a little bit of black and a little bit of blue, and then make these cast shadows underneath so it looks like the light is coming from the left upper corner, and there's a little glimmer on the water drops that I'm going to leave pure white. And then we are going to create the illusion of these water drops being sitting on a table. So again, I'm going to lay in the cast shadow of this big drop. And then on the little drop, I'm going to darken the form and then add the cast shadow. Now we're going to go over with a beautiful rich cerulean blue and try to bleed those colors together a little bit. Color pencils are a lot of fun to work with. And you can layer and create a lot of variations of a color by layering and blending. So I've got 3 blues in here and a black. And then what I'm going to start with these is to lay in a foundational color for the tabletop. So I decided to use kind of a rich brown, and I'm going to wash it through all over the tabletop. And you definitely want to also paint in the cast shadow areas, because the cast shadows aren't part of the drops. They are part of the table because they are the shadows cast on the table, so they need to be the same color as the table. So here I have the tabletop washed in, and then because the drops are transparent, we are going to see some of the color shining through into the drops. Now I'm taking a smaller brush and I'm going to create some textures on the table, some wood grain effect with a little brush, and try to make it a little bit more interesting. And because again the water drops are transparent, so we're going to see the tabletop through there. You're going to do light and dark variations to kind of create a nice gradation texture. And so here I have it the way I want it for now. You can add more detail later. And now I'm taking watercolor over the drops and adding in a beautiful wash of the cerulean blue. And because it's transparent, you're going to see the texture of the table, and you're going to see the rich brown that's underneath, but you're also going to create the illusion of water drops sitting on a table. So I hope you'll give this one a try. It's just a lot of fun to create these illusion type drawings and just to be creative with your watercolors and color pencils. Thank you for joining me today at A Touch of Blue Studio with Drawing with Grandma.